We're live. Quicks, how are you doing, my
Let's
man?
go. I'm good. Thanks for the invite. NFT Cat, happy to be here. Always happy to talk about NFTs, Foxes, Solana. So excited, man. How are you doing today?
Good. I mean, just got some work done, went to the gym, and now we're here, back to work, right? And like, I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, excited to have you here. Allegedly, you're the most famous fox, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I've been a fan of like Famous Foxes. I think like the infrastructure is really like second to none. And I think I kind of like invited you because I believe like you're probably like, if not like the best person to talk to, um, if like anyone wants to learn more about Foxes, both on the collectibility, but also as like a utility platform, right? So, what can you say to that?
So yeah, that is the running joke that I become the most famous fox of the Famous Fox Federation. And so I host their weekly space with Drax, who's the founder. And I've been a big supporter of Famous Foxes, and I've been wearing the PFP since the end of 2021. They minted in September. I think it was September 30th, 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And then I bought my first Fox a couple months after for a much higher price than mint, bearish. But
Sure.
then I always rocked it as my PFP, and it just stayed my brand. And as I grew in the ecosystem and I was invited to do speaking events or host fireside chats, then they would always ask, okay, can you send us your headshot? And I would just send them my Fox. So like I even have, I did one of the closing ceremonies at Crossroads with Bangers and Ansem. And Bangers and Ansem both had like their headshot PFPs, and then like my Fox was up there. And that was like the moment where it became the joke. I become the most famous fox of the Famous Foxes, and the main account supports me. I know the developers, I know the team, I know the entire community. I don't officially like work with them, but I wouldn't take like any money from the Foxes anyway if I do. But I am a longtime supporter and contributor to the ecosystem, and I personally believe that the Fox brand, one of the most important utilities, but they have a lot with the Foxes, but one of the most important is that you own the IP rights to your Fox, which is incredible. So not a lot of people take that seriously right now, but in the future, I think that's going to be huge if people expand their brands into businesses, or like me, I'm selling plushies of my Fox, and all the proceeds go to an animal rescue that I work with here in Thailand for street dogs. Yeah, man. So that's one of the coolest things about the Fox, and it's clean, brandable, cute IP. There's no like crack pipes or smoking weed and stuff, and no degen, and it's just a clean brand. And whenever you see a PFP, you always make these like preconceived notions about what this person represents. You know, like when you see someone with a Mad Lad or a D-God or an SMB, you already start assuming what that person's about just based off their PFP. So when you see Foxes, we're known as like Solana builders, you know, contributing to the ecosystem, OGs. True. So it's very respectable PFP, and the community is amazing. I mean, some of them are foxholes. Yeah, they're just really like this one Degen Donnie. He's such a pedestrian, but there are some really good foxes in our community, and super active still after all these years.
I mean, like when you're talking about the way, when you're talking about like the way like the art basically comes to fruition and like the perspective of that, right? They kind of give a Butchie Penguins-esque vibe, like very good, neutral. I think like sadly, like the floor price is not quite on the same level just yet. But like another like NFT, which is kind of in like the same category, in my opinion, is Utes, right? Like very approachable, very unassuming, kind of cute, like just good. I'm not talking about
if you want to know the real. If you want to know the real Bavine Foxes, and this is like a really like open running joke in the community, is we're a derivative of Cool Cats. If you see the Cool Cats on Ethereum, and shout out NFT Cat, the Cool Cats on Ethereum are facing the other way, not with connecting lines, and a lot of the same traits. So if you pull up the Cool Cats on Ethereum, you'll see a lot of like the Fox traits. But I think it's just it's such a stronger IP, honestly.
Cool Cats. Let me just like have a look at them.
Oh yeah, pull it up. Yeah, just check that out. Actually, quick. It's gonna be a good laugh.
Wait, let's see. Boom. I mean, like, I can see it.
You see what I mean? No, but like scroll
Yeah,
through and
for
like
sure.
look at some of the traits. Yeah.
I mean, like, they're fun, right? But you know what? Like, the cool thing about like these kind of PFPs, like, you cannot really hold anything against them, like from like the visuals point of view, right? Like, you can be to where from like the collectibility side of things to where you're more like, I like more of like the rough look, like DGOTs, or more like the sharp look from Metlats. But what you gonna say? Like, they're fun builders.
Oh yeah, and they never stop. We're consistently still shipping. Recently, just started a validator on Solana, and we just hit a milestone 50,000 staked SOL. So extremely bullish. And their tools actually generate revenue. We're no cap, one of the richest NFT projects. We have a lot of money in our treasury because very smart, like with handling our funds. We generate revenue, and we continue every month to reward holders through staking, missions, and holder-only raffles each month.
I mean, you know what? Why don't we just like get to the gist of it, right? Because like we have like quite a lot to unfold. I would say, like, as a purist within this the space, right? Like, my favorite feature out there, and like, I don't think this is going to come as a surprise, but like the Foxy swap, right? The fact that you do not need to trust anyone, that's just like record breaking, like, in my opinion, right? Like, you don't need to like fear of being scammed. You don't need to actually physically like meet the people. Like, you can just like transact and just like lock it in a smart contract, right?
100%. And it's it. So for those that aren't familiar with Foxy Swap, it's the safest way to complete a swap transaction on chain on Solana. And basically what'll happen is, let's say I want to buy that Dylan D God, that NFT cat has in the back, and he's selling to me for the low price of 100 Solana. We negotiate a deal in the back end. So in the past, I mean, you could list it on Magic Eden or, Tensor, and, I could go on and buy it. But to bypass like royalties and to secure the most amount of like profit with the least amount of fees, you would just use Foxy Swap. So I would get your wallet address. I would type it in, choose the NFT. I would enter in the Solana for 100, and then I would hit Foxy Swap. You would get a notification if you have a Foxy Swap account. Otherwise, they'll send you like an email or a Twitter message. Otherwise, if you hop onto the Famous Fox website, you'll see that you have an offer for your NFT and you can accept it. Same thing if I wanted to trade you NFTs. Like if I wanted to give you 3D gods for your Dylan, I'd be able to like set it up to put like 3D gods and maybe even like Soul on top. And then you'd get the offer. You choose if you want to accept. Both of it is put into escrow. You accept, I accept, and then the funds and NFTs are released. There is a fee, like a very small fee if you're not a Fox holder. But if you are a Fox holder and you're staking your Fox or it's on a mission, it's free. All the tools are free to use on Famous Foxes if you're a holder and staking. So one of the other big utilities.
I mean, like, let's just call it like this. Like, by now, I probably should have just like gone a Fox to begin with, just for the sake of just like saving myself like the cost. I mean, like, it's not like a high cost anyways. Like, it's what, like 0.1 Solana, which is well worth it, right? And like, you know what, like, there's also like another argument to be made here, Quicks. The other day, and this is like such a sad story, but like it actually happened with a fellow community member within DGOTS who basically just wanted to raw dog a trade, and one of the god in question got sent to like the wrong address. And
oh no.
Yeah, so apart from like you having to trust people, right, you can also just like go on the route like, hey, rather than trusting someone, let's just make sure that we're dealing with the right wallet to begin with.
100%. Yeah, I mean, that I hate to hear about that. I never want to see anyone taking L's in the space, but using Foxy Swap probably could have prevented that, because they would have been able to see the actual assets in the wallet before they had like put in the offer and sent it. And it's also held in escrow until you receive the NFTs or the funds as well. So it's extremely, extremely safe. And it's been being used for years, along as well as Foxy Send, which lets you like bulk send NFTs or tokens. So this has been an amazing tool for a lot of communities that airdrop their holders, and they honestly will just own a Fox just so they can have zero fees owning a Fox, and they can airdrop their entire community with like tokens or rewards or whatever they're doing. They still use Foxy Send to this day.
Absolutely. I mean, like that's the thing, right? I mean, like apart from it being like a very cool collectible to own, to be like part of like the DAO, to actually potentially get like some passive revenue, and like we're not even talking about like the collectibility of things. You're kind of objectively at the forefront of the way like NFT infrastructure would basically develop as we go, right? And especially in the bear market when like things are like a little tougher, etc. It must be like quite interesting to just like have like a foot in with like the most recent developments in the space to begin with.
Like, how do you mean?
I mean, like if
I'm not in any
you-
like cabals or like early chats or anything like that.
but
Yeah,
like
you
I'm
won't
just
find me with,
saying,
like,
as
Hayden Davis
you
and
as
shit.
like the holder, as like well, working together with like the Foxy team, if you will, right? It's kind of like,
Oh
if,
yeah,
if
they're super accessible. I mean, like Drax, even before I was hosting the spaces weekly, I still like Drax. If I ever wanted like to get on a call, Drax would like he hops on a call with holders all the time. And they're just like a really accessible team, and constantly doing weekly missions, always doing our monthly holder raffle, which is huge every month, like over like hundreds of Solana's worth of prizes in Sol. And it's just they really have kept like such like a professional like business model in place, even though it's very much like Web3 and like a little bit like degen and like some gambling here and there. But they've been so mature about how they've operated as an NFT project, and very realistic about where they are at in the space, what the market has determined. And so they've just continued to keep building. We have very, very strong community, I would say, at this point. You know, like anyone that's in Foxes like is here for the long term. And dude, they've always supported me. They support a lot of our community members. I wish more people were active. We have a lot of people in our community that are kind of like whales, but just not as like active in the space as I am. That's why I became the most famous Fox. I was always like hosting spaces, doing streams, you know, making content and stuff. So I wish more people would rock Fox PFPs and join me.
So maybe like interestingly, right? Because like maybe like take like a step back from like the utility aspect of things for like 2 seconds before we continue there. If not the most important like aspect of like any NFT is its community, right? Like I think a clear example of that, I mean, like it's no secret, like I'm team DGOTS, right? But like I'm team like pretty much like Solana NFTs in general. I think like what DGOTS has working for them right now, even that like post Frank, if you will, the community is like as much alive and kicking as any other NFT out there. How would you describe like the activity of like the community itself? Is it like the discourse is like alive and kicking? Like how is like the buying and selling? Like what's like the community life within Foxes right here right now?
Yeah, man, it's super active. I mean, every single day, Discord is active again, even after all these years. And there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of different sub DAOs of Foxes that have been created. Like Raffle DAO, for example, have created their own super successful project building off of the utility of Foxy Raffle and being able to generate revenue from successful like a raffle strategy. So, and they now have their own successful project. And so the community is very strong, but they're just not as loud on socials because, again, like they're more behind the scenes. Most of them have jobs and families, and
Sure.
you know they're invested into this long term. but they're always constantly looking. And then for the other part of your question, the trading, foxes are one of the most traded collections on Solana. If you see from the amount of volume, and we're always in like the top 10 collections being traded.
True.
We implemented 0% royalties a long time ago. So people have been watch trading foxes a lot for like rewards and Magic Eden and stuff. But in all seriousness, there are still people that are trait hunting for specific foxes, because the mission structure is very easy. Every fox on the weekend, you get to go and send your fox on a mission. And after 1 week, they come back and they're either successful or they're not. If they're successful, you get chests. Inside of the chests are either like Foxy tokens, Solana, rewards. So if you get a fox, they have a point system based on their traits. So the more rare traits have higher points, and the higher points means a more chance of success your fox is going to have coming back with chests on the weekly mission. So people are constantly looking for rare traits, and they sell like above floor quite a lot. You'll even see like on the Famous Fox Alert account, they're constantly posting like trades that like are like above the floor, even in this market. So yeah, there's still super active community, just not as loud on the timeline, I would say.
I mean, like, you know what, like the funny thing is, right, like I do kind of feel that I don't want to make this like a price action kind of thing, but like if we're just like looking at the chart, it does kind of like speak for itself, right? I mean, like foxes have just like been going up steadily for like the past little bit. Like I think like it's kind of safe to say that they've been leading the dance when it comes down to like NFTs having like their wave up for now, right? Like whether they're really loud about it or not, like the price action does kind of like speak to itself.
Well, what's really interesting is there was an event that happened in the Foxes. Shout out one of our newest community members, Salamander. He is an influencer in Latin America, and he came in, just wanted to learn about the Foxes, and no one even knew who he was. And it turned out he was like a very successful like influencer, real estate, and so he spent a lot of like Solana on all these like rare foxes, and like made deals with some of our community members that have been holding some of these rare foxes. So now he has like an incredible collection, and he's been telling his community on YouTube and socials about foxes. So we've seen a huge uptick over the past couple of weeks from like a really big whale and influencer coming into our community. But I think all around, like Solana NFTs are getting a little bit more traction. We see SMB almost at 20 sol.
For sure.
Mad Lads are like popping off because of like the backpack token coming soon, and like their ability to be part of like the revenue share model. We're seeing D-Gods also like almost back at 6 sol, Utes above 1 sol again, man. Kalinosaurs are popping off. Their upcoming TGE, I think, is going to be fairly soon. So I think that the OG collections are going to definitely prevail, and we might see some new pop-up NFTs. You know, it's some like new hype projects with like cool teams that collab and everything. But a lot of these, I'm going to be honest, man, a lot of these NFT projects are not going to see the same all-time highs as they ever did, or even close.
Not this cycle.
Right now, there's less than 50 Solana projects that are above 1 sol. That is crazy stat to think about. Yeah.
But you know what? Like it's kind of like what you would see in like so many markets, right? Like people, like let's talk about like the collectibility of things for a second, because like people are like so high on Pokemon cards these days, but like there was like a time and place to where quite literally everyone's mom would just like give them away to their neighbor's kid or whatever, because like they did not hold any value. And with like the COVID-19 crash, pretty much that's when like Pokemon cards started to do really well, right? And there was like kind of the pattern to where you would have like Pokemon cards doing really well, people also like joining NFTs for a little bit, hopping from one space to the other. Like then it went to like sneakers. Sneaker bros pretty much went to like Pokemon cards again. And I mean, like if you're talking about Pokemon cards holistically, I do kind of feel that we're probably closer to a top than to a bottom, right?
I say that a lot, and I get smoke for that all the time. I'm like, The reason that Pokemon is popping off right now is because millennials are the buying power and they have disposable income, and this is what they're doing with their money. But I cannot see this like retaining value. I can't see like younger generations in 20 years getting excited about some of these Pokemon cards. You know what I mean? And
No,
so I don't see it as sustainable. I mean, and there's counter arguments to it, you know, like that, you know, Pokemon is the largest IP in the world. They've been, a business for 30 years now, but I just think that it holds such nostalgia with the current generation. But I don't think that it's going to have as much of an impact in 10 years, 15, 20 years. But I could be completely wrong. They could retain their value and basically outperform gold. Who knows?
sure.
But I personally think it was the top, like seeing like Logan Paul selling that Pokemon card for like $17 million or something. Like that's reminds me of the NFT bull run. And
Yeah.
so I think we'll see a huge retracement in the Pokemon sector, but then we'll probably see it pick back up again because, you know, like things after a while they become cool again and haven't that like retro may become popular. But again, that might just be like a flash in the pan. So we'll see.
I mean, like, you're kind of right though. Like, you know what? Like, even though like whether this will be like the Pico top or yes or no, things are probably taking more time than we would want them to take, right? Like, so I don't think it's likely that we're going to be able to just like step into like any car dealership and buy in like holofoil Charizards, right? Like, if I'm just like looking at this from like a analytic perspective, I kind of feel like we've seen this sentiment before, right? I mean, like we've been in crypto for like a little bit. The halftime show does kind of remind me of FTX Arena, and like obviously I'm not comparing Pokemon to like FTX in whatever way, shape, or form because it's kind of art, right? It's kind of nostalgia, as you said, but like then again, how much better does it need to get for us to what's the next logical step, right? Because like we've achieved the halftime show, we've achieved it to where in every village there are like a few trading card shops to where like a few years ago like there were none. I think it's rather oversaturated than undersaturated to where
I think the best like comparison that could be made to it is the sneaker business, and look at how down bad it is currently from where it was all-time highs. I mean, people are sitting on so much product and there's just no buyers, and because like the generation now is not as concerned with sneakers, and the buying power that is now basically out of the market. They've either liquidated, they've taken their profits, or they like are in a position where they've completed their collection and they're not looking to acquire more, you know? So, and that's also very difficult to store. Same thing as Pokemon cards, getting them graded. There's so many different variables that could take place. I've heard of people, you know, getting them lost and having to go through like insurance, you know, fraudulent like eBay transactions. So, I mean, and there's even been rumors of certain project like companies that say that they're holding the assets but don't actually have it, you know what I mean, because now they're stored like digitally in vaults, you know. And so I don't know, I really don't have a fire take on like where it's going, the current state. I just know that they're super popular right now, but I'm not buying any of them. I haven't bought any like cards or anything. I've been on a stream where we open up some gacha packs, and I've had like Collector Crypt on our stream, and we opened up packs and stuff. But you know, so I see like the value and like people, there's a market for it. But I just personally am not invested at all in Pokemon cards. I have no Pokemon exposure, so that's probably bearish for a lot of people, to be real.
Well, I mean, like, I had Pokemon exposure just like a little bit, and I went to the shop and just like sold it all because you know what, like, if not now, then when, right? But you know what, like, I do kind of believe we're in a collector's boom right now, and to where like one sub industry or like one industry is like doing like the all-time highs. We are advocating for like the industry we love at all-time lows, right? And I mean, like, I'm just like curious on your end, I'm always quite focal on why NFTs, but like, well, I'm asking you the question, like, why NFTs? And I guess more so, why Solana NFTs?
What I mean, Solana is the answer. You know what I mean? I've always said like Solana NFTs are like illiquid longs on Solana. Like if you believe in Solana, you're okay with parking and losing some Solana to gain access to one of the top tier communities in the ecosystem. Solana is going to prevail. Solana is going to be successful. They've already created the everything markets where you can buy stocks, gold, other chain tokens, DeFi. You know, once we take over like the perps, you know, more DeFi lending protocols and stuff, like it's game over. We've already integrated like all the payment infrastructure and rails are there. It's scaled. Increased bandwidth, reduced latency was more than a tribal chant. Like that was a reality of what they worked on. So I know that Solana is going to be extremely successful. So in turn, Solana NFTs will be extremely successful. And I think that there will be a huge market for them in the future because collectibles, we're seeing like the success of Pokemon and stuff. But more than that, I think that we're going to see the rise of more artists and creators in the space, especially with AI becoming so prevalent everywhere. People are going to gravitate towards that human, authentic, genuine content and connection. And you can find that through these NFTs and communities. And they're also like NFT communities are a lot more healthier than meme coin communities at the end of the day. I mean, aside, unless they're like sell shaming you, that's probably like the most toxic part of like an NFT community. Like if you have to like sell, because there's no like fractionalized ownership basically on NFTs. But in the meme coin, it's just like, it's very clear everyone is there to sell the token at a higher price. Whereas a lot of people in like the Foxes communities or like Monkey DAO or DGods are there because they want to network, they want to connect, they're working on something, and this team, this community is offering something that will help them grow. And it'll be you know, symbiotic relationship where it's like a win-win for both sides.
I think you're absolutely right. I also believe like this is one of like the key differences and like why I prefer NFTs so much more than meme coins, right? Because like there's a aspect of individualism within NFTs more so than in meme coins, right? Like let's just like say it like it is. Meme coins, they're PvP, right? Like it's, hey, like you want to like do better than the other one having like the exact same token. Like there's no individual aspect to it. But if I'm buying Foxes, if I'm buying DGods, if I'm buying whatever, right? I want to buy that one because whatever specific one that is, because I think that one looks cooler. I'm more able to basically like recognize myself in that one, or like want it to like represent me in whatever way, shape, or form. And when you're just like dissected to the very last bit of it, other than like the utility part, right? It's about like appreciating art and like doing that in somewhat of a collective of fellow art enjoyers.
I think you're 100% right. And when you join this community, just off of the pure fact, like you just said, if you vibe with the art and someone else is in that community because they are also vibing with the art, they're not just buying it just to like sell it at a higher price later. I mean, who's buying NFTs thinking that right now? So if you're buying because of the art. You already have such common ground. You know, you probably have so much more in common, like just how you see the world, because you both find the same collection appealing, right? That's the beauty of these communities. But it's not the same with like meme tokens. Meme tokens is like you can get behind the meme, but at the end of the day, like the meme gets old, right? The joke can only be funny for so long. You know, like how funny are we laughing at a dog with hat? You know, and then until after a while, like it has to become like a legitimate business, and it doesn't become funny anymore. But how do you do that? That's why you see like the most successful meme tokens are like Bonk and Pengu, because like they've also created a sustainable ecosystem outside of just being like a funny meme. You know, they're a funny meme with millions and millions of GIF views and with a community that's hosting events around the world and created all these other revenue generating products with Bonk, you know? So it's like, it has to evolve, but it all comes down to the community also and the experience you're creating for them. And with NFTs, it's just such a better experience. It truly is.
I mean, having said that though, to you, right? Are foxes, are they utility or art, or somewhere in the middle?
It's both, to be honest, because I think personally the art is dope and you own the IP rights, so you can create an entire brand off of like this cute, adorable little fox. And I think that has such value. Like people even that don't know anything about NFTs that just see my fox, they're like, "Oh, that's so cute! Like what a cute little like anime character, or like what an adorable little fox." They have no idea like it's an NFT, you know. So like if I was to theoretically open up a cafe here in Thailand and I had Foxy Cafe and I had my picture of the fox there, I'm pretty sure it'd do well because people are gonna stop and be like, "Look at that adorable little fox! I'm gonna go into this cafe and get some coffee." You know what I mean? Like they're drawn to that. Like cute, adorable brands like win in retail. So that's and I think that like correlates a lot to if you're building a brand in Web3. It's been successful for me so far.
That's for sure. I mean, like I am definitely a fan of foxes. I do not have any foxes at this moment. I'm not saying I won't buy them. I probably will, but like sadly, folks, like there's only so much you can spend your funds on, right? Like you can only spend it once, and everything is opportunity cost. But like from the art perspective, I do kind of feel that if you really like Pudgy Penguins, for example, you'll more than likely also like the artsy vibe of Famous Foxes, because like they kind of do project to me the same kind of vibe to it, which is cutesy, positive, right? Like animal, obviously, and like you cannot say anything wrong about them.
Exactly. And they've never, honestly, I mean, no offense to like the D gods but I've been messaged by Bored Ape Yacht Clubs with rugs in the past, D gods when they were like super popular with like rugs, and and people will use these like big name projects to try to like, oh, like I own this Bored Ape Yacht Club, so now like click this link. But foxes have never had that issue. No one reps a fox and is out here scamming. You know what I mean? No one's even repping a fox and making content, really. There's like very few of us. There's maybe less than 10 foxes that are where consistently wear their PFP, that have created a brand out of it, that are making content. One of the biggest ones is Loki. I want to shout out Loki, man. He's on the Meteora team. He's been putting out ridiculous content, LPing in Thailand and spending everything that he makes in LPs on his lifestyle. So he's been making dope content and video. He's been growing with the Meteora ecosystem. And what's cool is like he actually approached me like in the early days, and he was like rocking the fox, and I was like, bro, build a brand off this, like be iconic, like, and he did. He hasn't changed his PFP, and now I don't think he can.
You're not talking about the Pudgy Loki, right?
No, he's a fox.
I mean, like, happy to open his page if that, like, so people can like.
Oh yeah, like so it's Loki _ soul, LOCHIE _ soul, and you'll see like Famous Fox PFP with like the Astro helmet.
LOCE _ soul.
LOCHIE _ soul. Yeah, shout out my fox brother Loki.
I got it for you. Boom. I mean, that's awesome, Rennie.
Yeah, you see? He's making a whole bunch of content video, shout out. Yeah, but he's also a fox, so me and him are probably like the two most like active foxes that people know in the ecosystem. But you're not more famous than me, Loki. Get that clear.
I mean, like, that's the funny thing, right? Like, we're all getting told that NFTs are dead. Then why do like some of the biggest accounts still like rep these pieces of art, right? Like, shouldn't they be dead by now?
Well, I think like the beauty of it is like I've always thought it was so cringe to rock like a headshot photo LinkedIn style, and I think that that's like part of like the cypherpunk essence that was like where crypto is based off of and the foundation. And so like even though like I'm fully doxxed and I make video content and I do streams, I still use the fox as my branding. And I think that that's like part of like what we're doing here is that not only do you get to own your own tokens, like, you know, if you have your Soulflare wallet, you own all your assets in there, but like, with the Fox, like you own the IP rights to that Fox, so like you own your brand, and it's however big you want to build that brand, you know? And so there's so many opportunities with that. And I think that I'm more bullish on I think it's stupid, dude. Like you drive down the highway and you see like a bunch of billboards for real estate agents, and it's a bunch of like idiots that they're smiling that go spend thousands of dollars on teeth whitening each year and stuff. And they just like, look at me, I'm on a billboard on the side of a highway, you know. And it's just like no one's famous anymore, and no one even cares about celebrities to be real anymore. Like Speed is like more famous than any Hollywood celebrity at this point right now, you know. And so I think that it's so much more bullish to own a brand of like art that's tied to a collection that's only like 10. There's only 10,000 foxes. There can only be 10,000 fox holders, you know, at most. And people are not letting go of like a lot of their foxes, so there's going to be a lot less, you know. And so
I mean, there's been like a shift, right? Like to where people have like stepped in, and like it's not only, I mean, like it's foxes, DGOTs, I mean, objectively speaking, Klanosaurs. Like there's like so many brands like NFTs out there to where collectors have stepped in, right? Like you can see quite clearly that not only like the floor price is like rising in that sense, right? But like a lot of like the more premier pieces are also getting like cherry picked out, right? So I don't know, like more than anything, I do kind of feel like we're seeing like somewhat of a sentiment shift to where, I mean, like let's just call it like it is. Like people start giving a shit about like NFTs again. Might be like a lot less than before, but we're not quite as pessimistic on NFTs these days to where it's like, oh no, it's never going to be a thing anymore. Even though I must say though, like if you're looking at the timeline, you see like so much crying, right? Like you see so many people on like, well, NFTs might be back, but like it's never going to be the same thing anymore, and yada yada yada. We kind of heard that before with like Bitcoin like several times now.
Yeah, and I think that I think that we will see popularity in NFTs again, because again, like there's so much that could be done with the technology. And even like a year or two ago when they were doing the 404s, I remember like DGOD, you were able to swap between the token and the DGOD. That's bullish. And with the math, if people figure out the math, I think that the technology is just like undeniable. You know what I mean? And so NFTs are going to have their place in this ecosystem, in this market, and the demand will be higher in the future. But I just think that we're not going to see I hate to say it, I'm going to say it again. Like a lot of these projects are not going to pop off again. We'll see the success of the blue chip projects. We're going to see huge success in those because those are the OGs and they're actually doing something. They still have, but a lot of these projects that saw all-time highs that like they basically are just gone now, unless for some reason people come in and they are like, oh my God, like I love Lily, you know, like look at the art, even though Bunjil's not doing anything. Shout out Bunjil, he's a legend.
I mean,
you know what I mean? But like people would just all of a sudden just be bullish on the art on Lilies and just taken over with that. So, and that may be a huge like NFT project again one day, who knows? But at the end I can't determine the market, but I do think that if you are getting into some of these blue chips, and to be honest, it's like very few of them. Like, you know, you got SMB, Klano, Mad Lads, Foxes. You could argue DGOD still. And that's right. Those are like the blue chips, man. That's what's been determined in the Solana ecosystem right now is like the blue chip collection. So if you're in one of those projects, probably going to be good long term. And there's a lot of other projects I feel like are going to do some surprising things. But all-time highs for some of them, 3 figures, even double figure soul prices. I don't know, fam.
I mean, I'm going to be like, I mean, like that's a lot to unpack here. First of all, you nailed like you nailed it with like the Lily. Bunjo was the absolute worst in that sense because like the guy quite literally just like woke up one day deciding for himself he was depressed and like then just like halted activities, whatever that meant, right? Like that's one way to rock your community. It's kind of sad because like I actually got into how I got into Solana NFTs to begin with was because of Lily's. Like, I really liked the art. I really liked the fact that
Oh,
it
really?
actually,
How much did you
yeah,
pay for your first Lily? Being honest.
I mean, like, I mean, man, like, there's been like quite like, I think I've paid like 20 Solana for like
I
a
believe
few.
it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got 1 out of 1 still, and like I got like quite a few with like the RM, which is like the Kamehameha beam, like erupting through the mouth. But yeah, I mean, like, that's one thing. But like, I'm really hopeful for NFTs in general. I think you're right with regards to new NFTs, right? Like, I do think there are like a few new names which could actually do really well, right? And like, again, like, to anyone listening, like, obviously do your own research, right? Like, I've done mine, and like, that's why I came to like the conclusion. But like, I think like medievals, who are basically led by the
That's Candy
DGOTS
Apple, right?
designers. Yeah, Candy Apple and Johnny DGOTS.
Yeah.
They're doing like a really cool job with keeping their community informed, but like also creating like events, like small little things to look forward to. You have rogues, you have hacks, right? Like, there are a few ones which are actually doing like a good job so far. But most importantly, what I think is that the most important fact is that a community should have like survived this bear market, which has been like above brutal, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been in an NFT bear market for what, like 4 years now, 4 years. So I don't know, fam. I don't know. I know a lot of people are still super hopeful and they're still very optimistic. And a lot of people have just completely written off NFTs, exited the ecosystems, and are never going to come back despite them going up in price. So they say. But when they actually do go up in price, we'll see, man. We'll see who comes around again. We'll see who's involved. And I do think that they have their place in the ecosystem. We're just, the market is not seeing the value like we all do. But, you know,
it just takes time, right? I'll tell you this much. Like the fact, like, with EGOTs, for example, like the advantage there, right? I mean, like, they've had seen the highest of highs and like the absolute lowest of lows, like, to your point, right? To where they even like fucked up after with like the pegging the token to the god, to where like it got depacked again. And right now, even then, I mean, I love any NFT. I would love to just like get into like the gist of it, like the community of it, and like the art of it. But like the DGOTS community, for example, it's so alive and kicking. Like, this Discord server is absolutely mental. There are still like so many people who actually like care, and not really about like floor price or floor price differentiation, price action, if you will, but collectors collect at the end of the day. And I kind of feel like that's really the same thing as what happened to Pokemon cards at some day, right?
That's a really good point. Collectors collect. There's always going to be collectors, and you'll never know. Like I just told you earlier in the story, we had that new influencer come in, Salamander, who knew nothing about foxes and just like was super curious, thought it was dope art, saw the utilities, saw the reward structure, and aped in. So, you know, maybe more people like that will come into the ecosystem. I hope so, for all your bags, for all you
I mean,
NFT
it's
holders.
kind of inevitable, right? Like, I think like as long as, just bear with me, right? Like, let's just like say, for like hypothetically and just for the sake of it, that people like to collect, and we're getting more digital as we speak, right? Like, people will always have like some kind of a desire to prove their status by showing off, right? Because like, why buy a Rolex if you can just like, well, look up the time at a Seiko, right? That's probably your argument for like a lot of people wearing like a using like an expensive profile picture. Plus, we will only get more digital as we proceed, right? Like, we don't need to be validated by a third party actually validating like the status or like the way like the NFT looks. We don't have to deal with like deterioration over time. And I think, I mean, like we've seen like the worst case scenario not happen once, but like as you just said, like for 4 years straight.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't have a foxy crystal ball, but we'll see. I think that there's still going to be a product market fit for NFTs in the future.
For sure. Having
We
said
got to
that,
get you a Fox, and we need to get you a Solflare wallet. That's what we need for you, fam.
there's one thing, and like I mean, like I know that I'm not using it on this computer right now, but like this is obviously not my personal one. I am using Solflare. I love Solflare. The only thing which needs to be like a little bit fixed is like the way like collectibles are displayed in the wallet sometimes. But like I'm a fan, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, the connected wallet to the Famous Fox site says differently, but I do appreciate if you do use Solflare. With the collectibles, I mean, we have a lot of our security that was built internally. And so like when Blowfish was acquired and we kind of just built our own system. So a lot of like pretty much all the Solana collections are verified in, but a lot of the new collections maybe aren't verified. And we're working with some of like the launch pads to work on that. But to be completely honest also, and this is like real talk, we had invested a lot into NFT and collectible features. You were able to list and sell your NFTs directly from your Solflare wallet, interact with the websites. But it was a large expense in upkeeping the maintenance, especially with a lot of the updates we've done over the past year. And the ROI, I'll be complete, it just wasn't there. You know, like people were not using those features. And so it's hard to justify from a business perspective to keep something that's like losing your company money to appease like a small faction of people, you know? And not that like they're not important and NFTs and collectibles aren't important, but it's just from like a business standpoint, people weren't using the tools and the features, and they aren't even with the projects themselves. So, you know, like just interactions also like at an all-time low. People may just be holding NFTs, but that doesn't mean like they're using like the tools or like staking and taking part in the ecosystem, you know? So that was like difficult. I think that in the future, if we see this hype train continuing and we see a bounce back for NFTs, we could turn that on again where, you know, all those features that we had under collectibles can be brought back. But again, you know, like we're a business, and so we need to generate profit as well.
I mean, like at the end of the day, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense, right? And like everything works in cycles. And at the end, I mean, if anything, you guys have like the technology in house, which is like the most important aspect to these things. And I mean, bull market kind of solves these problems, right? Like if there be like more interest, like within your customers, then again, like as you said, like it makes sense again. But like, yeah. It is what it is, man. I mean, like I know.
Shout out the Foxes also, because I mean, dude, one of the best tools and features that I love personally, my favorite Famous Fox feature is Citrus. Citrus right now currently is an NFT-fi platform, so you can borrow and lend your NFTs or under collections. It's one of my favorite platforms, and I've been talking with Drax and pushing for him to integrate tokens in the future. But I think that this could like actually blow up, where we'll see, you know, gold, stocks, possibly you might be able to mortgage a house one day through Citrus. I think that they could really compete in the DeFi ecosystem if they really push this product. And because Solflare and Foxes are so closely and working together, I could easily see that being integrated into Solflare for your NFTs and for token, like borrow and lend against them. So who knows, man? I mean, that's been something we've joked about and talked about in like our spaces and Discord. Because Solflare and Foxes are really deep. You can actually change the background of your Fox for 5,000 Foxy tokens, but you can do it for 1,500 Foxy tokens for the Solflare one. So there's a discount, and you get the Solflare swirl background, which is like the official Solflare colors. So yeah, we're deep in the Fox ecosystem.
Like I kind of want to get into like the Foxy token as well, but like maybe with Citrus, right? Like fair to say, like you guys, I mean, like in my experiences, you guys have like won a lot of like terrain lately. I see like a lot of people moving towards Citrus, and I think like one of like the most famous features I've heard of is to where you can basically receive like personalized loan offers to certain NFTs, right? Can you maybe like elaborate like a little bit on what makes Citrus as a lending platform more attractive for like both like borrower and lender than others?
That's a great question, and it honestly comes down to the customization and the customability. So you can set the ability to, let's start with the lender. The lender is able to set their terms. You can choose your APY, you can choose the length of your loan, you could choose between TVL or a set fixed sole price. And there's also opportunities for people that will like list that are looking for like a loan, so you can immediately start like earning yield on that. So it's very customizable. Then from the borrower, you have so many options. You can borrow between like 3-day, 5 days, 7-day. They have buy now, pay later. So, and then you're able to re-borrow at any time and still choose the terms of the loan. Whereas other NFT platforms, you just basically can either renew or like extend, and it'll just give you like the next loan in the pool, or
Yep.
and you just have to accept like the terms of like whatever the loan is, the amount, and or you have to like pay back the loan. But with Citrus, if let's say you buy an NFT and you have it on a 7-day loan, but you need some more time paying off, but you want to pay like more towards it, so you're not like paying as much interest, you can find another 7-day loan or a 14-day loan for a lower price, maybe like a little bit higher in the interest, but then now you can start paying it off. Or vice versa. If you wanted to, let's say there's a platform running a big campaign this week that like if you're like trading on it or providing liquidity, and like Seeker season going on right now, and let's say you wanted like to allocate some SOL towards that, you can take out a loan on your Fox or whatever your NFT is. Now you have some Solana, you can spend the week or whatever running the campaign, and then you can pay off your Fox or your NFT, or re-extend the loan if you need more time, or just default it and never pay it back. And since whoever the lender is offered a lower TVL, they're in the profit, so they get the NFT. They may not have gotten the Solana, but they got the NFT for a lower price.
Sure.
And generally that price is, if you instant sell it, you're still making like a significant profit.
I mean, like again, like I've seen like so many people who have just like been recently migrating. I've seen you guys actually, like it was my fellow DGOT Dinero who basically said like, yeah, I moved like all of my loans to Citrus, shout out to them, and Foxy instantly followed them. But like, people have been absolutely losing their minds in like the most positive way. I mean, like it's kind of interesting because like at the one hand, like NFTs are quote unquote dead, but like these kind of platforms, I mean, they're kind of thriving, right? Like, and even like at the peak of the bear market, I don't even want to know what this kind of technology would create in revenue, but like also in popularity and mindshare when things are getting at like the most bullish of bull markets.
I think you're right on. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the market prices in NFTs and which ones they find popular. And shout out one of your DGods in the chat, Run, right there. Awesome, amazing creator, great trader, also bullish on NFTs. He said that we need a new NFT marketplace. I don't know, man. I guess people are not happy with the announcement today from Magic Eden and Tensor. Recently their team like sold. Yeah, dude, this was like super surprising. So I guess like Magic Eden is going to be like turning off the service for EVM and like Bitcoin ordinals, and also like I think their wallet as well, if I'm not mistaken. But actually, I gotta check.
The wallet is kind of nuts, not gonna lie. Like I think like the wallets is, I mean, to me, like, but again, like I'm a purist within the space. Like, how can you like turn off a wallet, right? Because like, isn't it? I mean, like the whole point of like a wallet is that the assets are yours. But yeah, I mean, like,
you still keep it. You'll still have the recovery phrase and the private key. Like, you can't just delete the wallet, so you could just import it to Soulflare very easily.
There you go. I mean, like that's folks, you heard it here first. I mean, I guess like Soulflare doesn't have like Bitcoin features though, right?
No, we only build for Solana, and
Yeah.
we saw a future where everything was going to be on Solana. And in a theory, like we're in a sense, we're right. You have like you can buy wrap Bitcoin on Solana through like Coinbase. Shout out Zeus, who we've worked with in the past. They have ZBTC, which is Bitcoin on Solana, and you can earn yield on that. You can like stake it in loop scale, for example, and earn yield. There's like other like DeFi opportunities. So that's really cool to see. So honestly, yeah, I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but I have Bitcoin on Solana. So like, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So what do you think like on the shorter term, right? Because like here's like another way of like looking at things. Magic Eden is I mean, like they're turning off EVM, they're turning off like ordinals. They're not turning off Solana. That's one. And like a like very, very, very interesting metric I saw the other day is that the entire like the total market cap of Solana NFTs is only like 110 to 100 million right here, right now, even though like the entirety of like the market capitalization of all NFTs is pretty much 1.7 billion. They must see something in Solana which they don't really in like either Bitcoin or EVM.
I think at the end of the day is that, and you have to understand that like this is one of the most important lessons you have to learn in the space, is to remove emotions and think logically from a business standpoint. And I don't know the exact numbers, but if Magic Eden is sunsetting like the Bitcoin and EVM marketplaces and discontinuing the support for their multi-chain wallet, I can only imagine that it's not profitable. And they're launching a new platform, Dicey. And I mean, they're doing a lot of cool things. They just launched like the new reward system. So stakers for ME are going to be rewarded in USDC, like directly a share of their revenue. I think they generated like $30 million last year. So, I mean, and that's in like the bear market or towards the end of like the bear market, especially like the end of the year. But I think that, you know, I don't know if it's profitable for them to maintain and upkeep like the ordinals marketplace and the EVM and the wallet. So, I mean, can you blame a business? It's just like with the example I gave you with Soulflare. We had to discontinue some of the features for collectibles because no one was using them. And it was costing us more money to have those features and have them up and running than people were actually using them. So from a business standpoint, like this might be Magic Eden pivoting, you know, letting someone else come in. And if we do see the hype, like the tech's there, they can bring back ordinals, they can bring back EVM, and people would use the platform again, especially if they ran like a campaign. So I don't really think, and especially, I mean, like I'm also a delusional Solana bull. So I mean, like if I was like an ordinals maxi, I'd be super upset, you know, because, you know, you do a lot of trading on Magic Eden. If you're staking, you know, you probably like staking the token for 4 years and you're expecting to be trading ordinals and get rewarded and stuff. So that's like, I guess like a little bit bearish, you know, but at the same time, like they're a business and they're a successful business, and, you know, they're doing what they believe is best for the future of their business and to reward the people that are invested in Magic Eden. So, and I'm bullish on their team. They just posted about me the other day. So I can't really, I'm not going to talk smack about Magic Eden, you know?
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Magic Eden. Like, if you're looking for a content creator to sponsor folks, like think of your guy right here. Other than that, the one thing I really wanted to talk
Who,
to
you? I can't. I'm not doing. I work for Soulflare. I have a full-time job.
I mean, like I'll take like any kind of sponsorship I can take, my man.
There you go. NFT Cat available, and you can get this, or you could get early on the NFT Cap market cap right now.
Hell yeah. I mean, like if we're doing it for free, just like imagine what the kind of lengths we'll go to when we're getting paid. However, though, there's one thing I found like really interesting. Like DGuts will actually like message me about this. Like he's like actually quite bullish on Foxes. And he basically told me that the way Foxes have implemented their token within like the entire ecosystem, like it makes like a whole lot of sense. because you can actually like there's quite some utilities to it, right? Like you can allegedly you can upgrade the Fox, you can uh, join raffles, and that's kind of what I know. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so Foxy token is earned through staking your Fox, coming back on a mission successfully with chest, or from buying it on the open market. Those are the only three ways to acquire Foxy token. So you can obviously sell your Foxy token for profit, but the Foxy token is mainly used to upgrade your Fox. So each Fox has a tier 1 and tier 2. And for the more rare Fox, like a Cope Fox or a FASA or an Armor Fox, they have a tier 3. And for each of those tiers, you have to pay either 10 or 20,000 Foxy to upgrade it. And when you upgrade a tier, you earn one more chest on your mission if he comes back successful. So all Foxes will earn 4 chests just as their basic tier. When they upgrade to tier 1, they'll earn 5 chests if they come back successful. And with tier 2, they'll earn 6 chests with coming back successful. And the more chests that you earn, the more chance that there's like Solana or a big name prize in that chest. So extremely bullish on that. But also there's other things you can do. We have a monthly holder only raffle, what I mentioned earlier, where there's like hundreds of SOL and prizes, and you have to buy tickets for that in Foxy. That's only sold in Foxy tokens. And then you can interact with the wallet with the raffle platform as well, to like purchase tokens and raffle tickets in Foxy. And people will hop on Flip, and they'll flip Foxy, and so there's some like other things that you could do in the ecosystem with Foxy. But it's an interesting design for a token, so, but they haven't rugged us, so I'm bullish.
I mean, but you know what, like I used to be like an analyst, right? And a big part of like your fundamental analysis is like what are actually like the uses for a token, right? And it's not set in stone. I mean, like there are like plenty of tokens which do not really have like a use case at all, right? Like you have like some governance bullshit to where like who cares about the governance and some things, but like this is what you can actually like really do with it from a consumer point of view, right? And like to where it actually, I mean, like your platform is running on the Foxy token, and I just feel that that's quite commendable, because then you don't have like a token up in the air which is just more a speculative asset. It's actually needed to actually interact with Famous Fox's ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. It's a utility token, but it's a utility token that also has value, and that's what I think is like super bullish about it, and so like I said, man, like Foxes are, in my mind, the most like respectable project in NFTs, man. Like how they've done, like the business that they've created, and the only reason that they're not at the floor price that they truly deserve is because of the hype, because they don't really care about marketing. They don't. Like their tools generate revenue. We have a solid community of holders. Everything works. All our products work. And the market right now is kind of like a black hole for marketing NFTs. Like if you want to waste money as an NFT project, throw like thousands and thousands of dollars into marketing, dude. Like it's not going to work. But they're continuing to develop a lot of tools. Like I mentioned earlier, Citrus, we were having constant discussions about upgrades to that, maybe integrating tokens, in the future, how that might evolve. And I think that would be a huge competitor in the DeFi space in Solana, as well as more people just being brought into the Fox ecosystem and using the tools. And I think, communities as they grow, Foxy Send, for example, is an amazing way to send and distribute tokens to your community. So if you have a Fox and you own it as a community in your treasury and you're staking, and then once a month, once a week, you're airdropping tokens to a bunch of wallets, it's free for you. If you're using it, you'll literally save more on the fees and outperform the underlying asset just by holding the Fox. And if you're staking it, you're still earning Foxy token, So, I mean, it's a win-win for projects that need to use some of the tools, and they're become longtime holders then.
Maybe like the last question, because like other than if there's anything on your end to where you're like, hey, like there's one thing I kind of really need to highlight. being a collector nerd, if you will, right? Like there's not only I'm obviously talking about me, Quicks. If there's not only famous foxes, right? You also have like the transdimensional foxes. Like, what's up with them?
So the TFFs were actually airdropped originally to all the famous fox holders, because there's exactly 7777. And we had a second mint of the foxes where the summon foxes were minted into the OG collection. So it evened out the collection at 10,000, but they've only kept the TFFs at 7777. And what they do is they earn exactly 1/4 of the rewards in foxes. So you get 25% off on the fees. You earn 25% of staking that a normal fox would, but you're still eligible to go on the missions, and your TFFs are still able to come back with chests. And I believe you can still compound up to 4 TFFs to receive like the 0% fees. So if you have 4 TFF staking, you can compound them for the full, like, 0% fees as a fox holder. And then the only other thing that I would want to definitely highlight is Fortuna. Fortuna is one of the new gaming platforms where they have retail, Tailspin, Prophecy, and this is also live on the Seeker device. So we have the Famous Fox DApp on the Seeker, we have Citrus on the Seeker, we have Raffle on the Seeker, and we also have Fortuna, which have all of these platforms. So you can win NFTs in retail, win Soul tokens in Tailspin, and they also like have like their own prediction market. Essentially, they created like way before the Kalshi and Poly market hype. So definitely check it out. And if you are looking to up your season 2, is it now? We're in season 2 of the Seeker campaign. Download the Famous Fox Federation dApps and start getting on there. Start deploying some loans in Citrus, earning some yield, buying some raffles, try to 10x. And check out like Fortuna. And if you do own the Fox, you can put it on your Seeker and be using the platform, staking, claiming your NFTs, all count as transactions. So bullish.
I mean, like, sounds like it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I only want to really like get in touch with like projects I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of Foxes. I've been using like Foxy Swap for the longest time. Like Citrus has been making waves. I was not really aware of like the ins and outs of like the token. I think like the Fortuna is like really interesting with like all the gamified stuff going on there. I mean, other than that, like, thank you so much for like giving up your time, man. Like, I've truly had like a blast. Like, we've been going on for an hour, but like it feels like only like 20 minutes, or at the very least it does to me.
Yeah, thank you, man. And I just want to shout out to you, man. You've been a great host. This has just been such a natural flowing conversation. So make sure, if you guys are watching in the chat right now, take a quick second as we're streaming on X, press the little arrow button with the square on the right hand corner of the stream. That way you can stay in the stream, and just go into your search bar and follow the NFT cat _soul. It's right there in his name on screen, so you can stay in the stream and search and hit that follow button. He's gonna be an up and coming creator. I'm excited to see your podcast. Are you gonna stay undoxed like forever?
Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, it's like don't do it. Like Frank like had so much success when he was like not doxed, and then he doxed, and I feel like now we're in a bear market. You know, so it's like,
I mean,
yeah.
To be honest, though, like Frank did do like a makeover, right? Like he bleached his hair. It looks like, I mean, like, good for Frank. But like, all jokes aside,
wait, he did? Wait, Frank like changed his hair color too? I gotta see that.
Wait. This might actually be like the highlight of the stream, and like, go, guys. Like, I'm not a DGOT hater. If anything, I'm one of like the biggest DGOT bulls you'll meet. Wait, let me just find this one, because like this one is,
I love Frank, by the way. Like, we follow each other. We've been
together,
dude. I have nothing but good things to say about Frank. I don't care what people extract this, trade this. I don't care, man. Like, there was a time where every space that was going on Solana, everything on the timeline was all about like, what is D-Gods doing? You know, what is Frank up to, dude? That's all everyone talked about, man. They created all this culture shit, dude. And so, man, bullish. But yeah, wait, let me see the picture. I wasn't paying attention.
Let me.
Does he look like his D-God?
Way better. He looks kind of yoked. He has like he looks kind of buff, like same long hair, but like it just got white, and like he looks good. Like he looks like life's going well for him. And like shout out to him, dude, because like, you know what? If it weren't for him, and like this is just me being real, I would not have developed this kind of passion I have for NFTs. Like again, like I am most bullish on like the D-Gods art just because like it does something to me to where I'm like, dang, I love this art. Like I like, this is just what I like. And if it weren't for him, like I would not have like developed a hobby like this, right? So yeah, let me just find it though. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, man, I only got the good things to say about him, man. I honestly, I don't really have enemies in space, dude. It's kind of sucks when I see two people I follow, like going at it on each other on the timeline, and it just sucks, you know. And so I don't know, man. I always have the mentality like, you don't want to burn bridges. You might have to rebuild in the future, and like no one is like physically causing me harm in this space, so it's like I never get upset about anything, you know. And I've had disagreements with people, but I'm not like gonna write a thread about it. I don't like post negative stuff because you know, you may feel upset about it at that time, and in 6 hours you may feel completely different, and you're still dealing with the repercussions of that post, you know, of how you were angry 6 hours ago. You know what I mean? So just be chill, man. Let things pass.
Yeah, I mean, I have like my altercations like very occasionally, if I'm being honest. Which is, I mean, I'm just kind of like staying in my own lane, if I'm being honest with you. Like, but you know what? Like, these are just like bear market kind of things, right? Like, this is kind of, if you would like look at like the market psychology chart, we're obviously in like the depression kind of stage. And like when people are depressed, like they fight about like whatever things do not really matter to begin with, right? I cannot find the Frank picture. Like it must have been removed. But anyways, like the guy looks good. He looks like a
dude, it probably AI, bro. Are you kidding me? I don't know if Frank dyed his hair, dude. Maybe I'll check his YouTube. I'll see if
oh wait, new style. Let me find it for you, because like this, I mean, like this was kind of, I went as crazy as like the Frank D-Gods dancing in club gif.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was always really funny.
I cannot find it for whatever reason. Well, I mean, like, if Frank would like listen to this, I really do hope this doesn't mean that like he changed back his look.
No, I hope he's doing well, man. I hope so. I know a lot of people in the ecosystem miss him, and I know he's had to deal with a lot of bullshit, you know, and take a lot of hate. Sure. You know, being a pioneer, be like that sometimes, dude. You know, but I think that he was only a net positive for the ecosystem. You know, like he kept the energy and vibes going all while like we were at probably the lowest point of all our crypto careers, you know, during like the last bear market. So, man, I got nothing but good things to say about Frank, the entire D-Gods community. Like I know Candy Apple, Bluey and stuff. So I mean, dude, I got nothing but love for them. I hope the success of all NFT projects. I hope all projects find their product market fit. I think that the way that we're going and where we're heading, and if crypto is able to capture 10 to 20% of like the market cap of the world, like what truly is deserving, there's going to be more than enough to go around for everyone. And I think everyone's going to find their happiness.
For sure.
I think more people need to be doing what you're doing right now, NFT Cat, which is building a brand or honing in on the skills that they want to monetize in the future. Because that's like the biggest message I try to tell everyone is that, you know, you are not late, you're still early. And even if you don't have capital to deploy, you're still early to this knowledge. So, and you can be developing so many skills. You're going to be employable by a lot of these projects in the future. So be active, create like a brand, build a reputation, post your genuine takes on things, like be yourself, but also think about the possibility that you could have your own brand monetized in the future, job offers, like it's a possibility. So love what you're doing. Make sure you guys are supporting and following the NFT cat. And if you have some extra time, follow your boy Quicks and download Soulflare and grab yourself a famous fox, man. Fox around, find out. Fox is
I'm going to. Maybe like one last thing from me, Quicks. Like to your point, how early we are. The total market capitalization is like the same as 25%. I'm talking like about alt NFTs. It's the same as 25% of like Chainlink's market cap, and it's the same market capitalization of Pepe. Wow. That's how early we are.
Yeah. So a lot of upside, honestly, from here on out.
A lot of upside.
I don't think we can go much lower. I don't think we can go much lower than 0. So pretty much upside only from here on out, dude. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see your journey also. Hopefully you outperform the NFT market as well.
Well,
just don't take all the money you earn and put it back into NFTs, though. That would be my only advice.
I will at the bottom, though. As long as we're at these prices, I definitely will. Brother, thank you so much. I appreciate this. This was amazing. I appreciate like anyone like having tuned in. Like I deeply respect it for anyone to basically give up their time to tune into ours. Thank you. And again, I'll talk to you soon.